with my CSX. Now I'm going to show you how to take out all the black paneling. I like to do the rear of the car first. I don't know why, I just find it easier. So let's do this. So in the trunk, there's going to be little clips that look like this. And they literally, you spin counterclockwise. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 in total, 3 aside. And then there's other little clips that you use a flathead to get out. And then the side panels come right off. So I'm going to do that now. So paneling, I just remove all those clips. There's the top of the strut there. Gonna need some WD-40 on that, that's for sure. Same thing on this side. It's a 14 mil. Use a wrench and an Allen key on the top. Alright, so wheels off. There's the stock spring. Like I was saying, the strut on the outside, the spring is in the inside. Now we're going to take out this bolt right here. Now I suggest, if the car's never been touched like this one, always hit the forward to kind of shock the bolt and then reverse. Never just hit reverse. So we're going to try and do that. To pull the stock strut out, you are going to have to take out this 14 mil head nut as bolt as well, sorry. You take off this ABS line out of the bracket. Freaking being a pain in the ass. So that one comes out, that line. And then for you to push down, you release this 12 mil head nut or bolt as well. That way the brake line doesn't stretch too far and collapse or break. After you get the strut out, what you want to do is try and spin the spring outwards. Takes a bit of pressure. Spin it counterclockwise, and as you spin it, just put pressure down on the spindle and the spring should just come right out. This camber arm bolt, or upper control arm, whatever you want to call it, is seized. So now I'm going to take a bit of heat and just heat the end of the nut. What that does is that will make it expand, and that should come right out. Just a bit, nothing too crazy. Alright. So now, put that nut on there. Grab the impact and you just blast it off. Here's the stock spring and the stock strut. So now it's the fun part. Now is I'm just setting the height on the ktuned coilovers. So what you're going to do is say measure 1 from the distance from here to the bottom of here. And then the next one. Now doing that, you will be able to get the preload the exact same. Make sure it's 10 millimeters, 1/4 inch preload. You need no more preload than that. Measure them. Preload set the same. Now, what I do, even though the coilovers are brand new, is I apply a bit of anti-seize just on the threads here and inside of the cup. That way, when you want to adjust the height, it doesn't seize. And then they will be installed on my FD5. And then the wheels. You put a bit of anti-seize, well I do, right before where the locking perch goes, that way it does not seize. Oh yeah, good tune. The strut is assembled, ready to go in. Okay, so the bushing goes, the rubber goes as showed. Then you slide it through the little hole. You reach around, you put the washer on the top. Remember, there's a washer here as well. Make sure the washer is there. There's a metal collar or sleeve, whatever you want to call it, inside of here. And once it's through the body, there's this washer. There's a bushing that is still remaining at the top inside the car. You put this on, you put the nut on, and you torque it all down. It's all threaded in at the top and everything. So I advise any bolts that you took out, just take the 2 seconds and put some anti-seize on them. You'll be thankful in the future if you ever want to take the suspension apart to do just regular maintenance, take the coilovers out, just to, you know, freshen them up, clean the threads, whatever. Use anti-seize, that way when you want to take it apart or for whatever reason, you can, like, they'll just be free. Like, no bullshit with having to heat stuff up and, you know, bring breaker bars. And because trust me, I live in Toronto, Canada, so yes, you know, our roads do get like salt and stuff, and the salt does eat the metal and it seizes everything up. So the rear, just got to put it back together. Just one more bolt. I'm gonna anti-seize this bolt. This bolt goes through here. Once it goes through here, then literally just follow the procedure that I told you, like reverse steps. Very, very simple. Oh yeah, looks great. Going to be installing the ktuned SL K1 coilovers in the front. So first step is you want to jack the car up from the K-frame. So you want to put the jack under right there. Set it right there in the middle. You'll see a little hump. And jack it up. That is step one. Now you want to keep going until the front tires are off the ground and you can throw 2 jack stands under each pinch hold at the front. Alright, so you want to throw jack stand under this pinch hold right here. So that's a jack on the pinch hold, just make sure it's on there properly. Don't want the car to slide off. And the passenger side, same thing. Alright, under the pinch hold. Now you can lower the jack. That's step one. Front wheels off, 19 mils to take off the tires. Same procedure. Take out the ABS line here. Just pull it out. You might need a little flathead to just push in these tabs to transfer. Oh, I just used my fingernail to transfer this to the next strut. Now I just rest them right by the jack stand. Everyone has their own way of doing things. That's how I do mine. Now you need to take out these two bolts here. 19 mil, 19 mil on the back side as well. So you take those two out. You take out this 12 mil here for the brake line because that's attached to the strut assembly as well. At the top, you have a little clip right here. So use a little flathead, be very gentle. Or you just pull this out like that. Literally just slides upwards. Pull that out. So the reason you take this little clip out is so you can see. So there's the bolts in here now, and the nuts. I'm sorry. So there's 1, 2, and 3 is right here in the corner. Now I recommend using a stubby 14 on a 3/8 drive to get these off, as the area is not that big. So the coilover install continues. So here's the stock strut. I've taken out the two bolts that hold this, I've taken out two bolts that hold the bottom of the strut in. One side is a 17 mil and the other side is a 19 millimeter. So you just move the spindle out of the way like this. Just move it back. Be careful, because if you pull it too far, the drive shaft will, like the knuckle will come out the drive shaft, and then you have to like fiddle with it and shake it and then push it back in. So this strut is actually ready to be removed. K1 SL, these are the fronts. Just making sure that the preload on both of the struts are set the exact same so it doesn't ride on different corners. What I'm going to do is just put a bit of anti-seize on the threads, like I said before. This is just so that the strut does not seize, or the perches, whatever you want to call it. So what I do is I just dab a bit on the strut here. And just work it in a bit. This is just so, like I said, it doesn't seize. You could possibly, if you want to, drive your car through winter. I'm from Toronto, Canada, so we have winter. Once you make sure both are the same, thread the cup up, set your height adjustment, put it in the car. More to come. Thank you. The ktuned coilover is now in the front of my 2006 FD5, aka otherwise known as 2006 to 2011 Civic Coupe or Sedan. It's the same exact suspension in both models. So because these are the super lows, I had to thread the shock up a significant amount. The strut is sitting about here inside of the cup, so it's more than safe. Now, wheel clearance issues. I'm having some right now. 17 by 9, 45 offset, 245, 45, 17-inch tires. So because the rim is such a high offset, 45, I'm going to have to run a 3 mil spacer just to clear the strut. Otherwise, it hits the perches. So just in case anybody is trying to maybe run a really wide set of rims with a high offset, you will need to run a 3 mil spacer. So if you're 45 offset with such a wide tire, I should say, the 245, 45, 17, you will need to run maybe a 3 mil or a 5 mil at the most. If you have a 38 offset wheel, then you're literally perfect. But in my case, I already have wheels, and I'm not going to go buy new wheels. So I just run the 3 mil spacer here and raise the car a bit to get that 2-finger 1.5 gap that I want, because they're strict here in Toronto, Canada. Can't wait to see how they ride. Thanks. I had to raise the car. I'm gonna have to set the height the exact same as the driver's side. This is the passenger side. So what you want to do is you mark it with the measure tape, which I've done. So what I do is I measure from here, and the bottom is supposed to be to the bottom of this perch right here. So as you can see, I have a far way to go down now. So what you do, spin it left and keep going. And check the measuring tape every so often. Once you reach the desired height as the same as the other side, you lock your perch here, you turn it clockwise, and you're finished. I'm going to show you how to jack up the bottom, or I should say lower control arm, so that you can line up these two holes. Okay, so once you reach the desired height on the strut, you push the spindle back like this. You go like that, so you push it in, make sure it's straight. Slides in. So the jack, you want to put on the lower control arm. Okay, so now it's under. So now what you want to do is you just jack it up. Push that in, jack it up, jack it up, jack it up. Now you'll see the hole is going to be there right now. So then push it in slightly. I'm going to anti-seize the bolts that go in so that they don't seize up. If you need to do alignment, which you're probably going to have to do. Okay, so one bolt will go through here. So one bolt. Second bolt, and he sees that as well. So second bolt now goes right here. So depending what way. So in order to get this bottom bolt in, you'll actually need to push the strut. Push the strut and you'll find exactly where it is. Boom. Alright, so now you thread on the two nuts. Thread those on. Put the bottom one on as well. Okay, then you put your brake line bracket, or ABS bracket, sorry, back in there. Slide it back down. You have your actual brake line that you had to remove, 12mm head bolt. And he sees that. And throw that back in as well. Just gonna anti-seize it. So the bolt, thread the bolt in. I never impact bolts right away. I always make sure that it is actually not cross-threading, because if it cross-threads, then it might break, and then you have to drill and all of the BS. So the best way is thread it in with your fingers first. Once it's threaded in and you know it's on the right track, go ahead and just tighten it. The brake line doesn't need to be tight. I think it's only like 8 foot-pounds. Alright, so now 19 mil here, 17 mil here. I want to move it most positive camber as possible, so like stock. So you pull the strut all the way out, and then you just tighten these two. Your finger can like halfway almost fit in here, and then you're done. Put the wheels on, torque your wheels to 90 foot-pounds. Well, that's what I torque mine to, and take it for a drive.